Hey guys, can you hear me? Just a microphone check. Okay, the microphone seems to be working just fine. Thank you for confirming that. Okay, so hello. Okay, thank you for confirming again. There is a poll that is currently running at the chat window, and you can vote for what kind of like tests do you want to see more about those models. So if you want to see more coding like OCR images, etc., you can go. Right now it seems like that coding and pretty much only coding is the mostly requested tests. So we're probably going to be doing a lot of coding during this tutorial. Hello to everyone that is going to be joining this live stream. We'll get to work. Want to see where I messed up using OpenCode? Haha. Okay. So yeah, we're also going to be doing also like some coding within OpenCode, and I'm going to be working with the llama.cpp server that have finally been updated on the Mac machines or within the Brew ecosystem. So currently I'm running a newer version of the llama.cpp server that is running within the Brew command. Excuse me, good sir, I'm new here. Can you tell me which quant are you going to use? Okay, so I'm going to be using the quant from unswat, and in particular, I'm going to be using, let me show you the concrete quant. So I'm going to be using this one. It's going to be Q4KM. Are you using the model locally? Yes, I'm going to be running the model locally on my M4 with 48 gigabytes of unified memory, and I'm going to be using the llama.cpp server along with this unswat quant. Unfortunately, the larger quants are not going to be, let's say, with enough inference speed for us to try and run them out. Even with this quant that I'm going to show you the Q4 here, why not UD4? Like the UD quants, those were not available when I was downloading the model. And if I start like downloading the model, probably, yeah, I can try this one, for example. Let me start the download of the model. Maybe our stream is going to hang for some time, but let's try it out. I'm not using MLX in particular because I want you guys to be able to have the capacity to run the models for yourself. Since most of the models that I'm going to be running are going to be able to be run on pretty much like every machine, not just Mac. So I haven't really been running any of the MLX models. Currently, I'm using just the GGUFs. Okay, so I'm going to try to download this one. Let's go for this. Unfortunately, my stream might be laggy during this time, but let's try it out. If I get too laggy for the stream, do let me know, guys. All right, so while this is downloading and hopefully loading up, how much does your computer cost you? And are you on MacBook or Mac Mini? I have MacBook M4 Pro with 48 gigabytes of RAM. Currently, I'm not really sure how much does it cost. It is like an year-old machine, so not really sure how much does it cost currently. The current generation is M5, so I guess that the M5 similar machine with M5 is roughly 3 to 3.5k USD, something around there. So this is pretty much the cost of the M5. And I think that the M5 are a bit better, like 20% or more better. Okay, so we're going to be using these quants. Let's see the files themselves, and I'm going to work with some parts of the... Okay, so this quant is actually, yeah, you're correct. This quant is vastly smaller compared to the one that I was going to try out. I was going to try out this roughly 20 gigabytes, and this one is 17.6, so this might be running quite a bit faster compared to the other one. So let's check the Qwen model and what is the new thing about this 27B release. Of course, the most important part here compared to the 35B parameter mixture of expert model is that we now have a dense model. That is, we don't have active parameters here. Pretty much everything that is going to go through the inference of this model is going to go through all of the parameters. How fast internet do you have? Could you show speed test? I'm not really sure. I have like maybe like 8 to 10 megabytes per second download, something like that. For the download. The upload, I'm not really sure. Okay. So after the launch of the 35.A3B, let's say 3.6 model, we are now seeing from the Qwen team the release of this dense model, which I would assume is another checkpoint on top of Qwen 3.5, since on Qwen 3.5 we also had the similar parameter size, 27 billion parameter models. So here within this chart or these benchmarks, we are seeing the comparison, especially between Qwen 3.5, the 27B parameter model, which is this one, compared to the newly released 3.6 27 billion parameter model. Okay. Oh, that's so slow. Haha, I live in Sliven and I have to use my 4G LTE and I download the models with 30 megabytes per second on Yeto. Yeah, congrats on that. Oh, nice. I do have 33 megabytes. I had before 7 megabytes per second. Also, I don't have optic fiber, so I have a good phone cable. Okay. Congrats on you guys. Hopefully, my internet is going to be good enough in order to download the model. And it looks like that it is going quite well, actually. We're at 25%, so nothing to complain about that. Okay, so the most important comparison between these tests, at least for me, is first knowing that most likely those models are pretty much benchmarked. Of course, this is happening like during a lot of the releases of these open models. But important thing here is still somewhat of an understanding of what is happening between the previous generation of this model on the same tests and this one. I have it downloaded in 10 minutes, not even this model. Okay, congrats on that. Did this model drop today? Yeah, it was like today, it was like maybe 4 or 5 hours ago. I had to essentially upgrade my llama.cpp and download some of the models to try them out. Yeah, it dropped this morning. Depending on your time zone, of course. So here we are looking at the different comparisons in the different benchmarks, and the important ones, at least to me, are this terminal bench for agentic terminal coding, since what we're going to be mostly interested in is how well this model is going to perform in agentic coding harnesses such as OpenCode, PyAgent, and the rest of the agentic frameworks that we're using for coding. And of course, another important point here is that compared to the 3.6 35 billion parameter model, is this model going to perform better? And at least on these benchmarks, it seems like this is the case. You can see here terminal bench, the SWE bench pro. The numbers themselves are not that large. I mean, the jump between the mixture of expert models are not that large, But in the real world, this might be like really important if you have, let's say, some debugging operation, some much more interesting part of your backend or a front end. I don't think it would perform good. Any of local models aren't performing good. Yeah, I have seen actually the mixture of expert model in open code. It was performing quite well, and I have like live streams using the open code integration with that model running with llama.cpp. So I was a bit surprised to see at least this model at first, the Qwen3.6 35 billion parameter model, and then when Gemma, when I was testing Gemma 4, it was performing again quite well. Of course, on small to very small projects. So I was looking at that, and I was, let's say, pretty happy with some of the performance of these models. Of course, nothing even close to quote Opus 4.7 or a GPT 5.4. Like, if those models are trying to be fooling you that they are better than those models, you're just knowing that those are benchmarks models, and the metrics, you shouldn't be like believing that. I do have actually RX 9060 XT GPU with 16 gigabytes of VRAM and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. Okay, so you're extremely rich in RAM. I can run it locally, but I would need like 128 gigabytes of RAM so I can have a big context window. Yeah, unfortunately, this might be the case. Okay. So another important thing here is that this model is multimodal, and we have seen the performance of the mixture of expert model on several tasks. And again, it was performing quite well along with the Gemma 4 model itself. I think that the Qwen3.6, the mixture of expert model, was performing somewhat better on visual tasks compared to the Gemma 4 model that we have been testing. So this was something different compared to the other models. And here they're saying that this really supports the preserve thinking feature, which is something that we're going to be enabling into our llama.cpp server. This will allow to preserve the thinking for the previous messages that were received from the model, and this will be added to the context while you're working with that. So based on this feature or flag being enabled, I was probably getting a bit better responses in open code when I was using this model. The context window is killer of local AI because it affects agent's memory and the speed itself. Yeah, completely agree with that. You are on it better since you have unified memory because it is faster than my RAM, but my VRAM is faster, but I do have only 16 gigabytes. We're going to look into how much memory this model is going to be using. We are at 69% of the download of the dynamic quant from Unswot. And here they have some examples, etc. This model can be run within OpenQuo, their Qwen code as well. Quote code, you are going to be able to run this model with their API URL and use it into a quote code CLI if you want to. Having an RTX 3060 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM plus 64 gigabytes of RAM, yeah, probably it's going to be a tough like run with a, let's say, 64 or more K context window. And as I have discussed the context window, keep in mind that this model is going to have, let me show you the model card. It's going to have essentially the same amount of context, which is going to be the 256K context window. So 262K. But it is extendable to 1 million. I haven't tried like extending the context window for these models. Okay. And here within their card, they have like information about running it with SGLang, VLM, But in our case, I'm going to be using just llama.cpp. So yeah, this is the examples with the API. Okay, so it is very, very similar to what we had into like the Qwen3.6 mixture of expert models, along with the preserved thinking and the enable thinking. So you're going to be able to enable or disable the thinking for this model. So yeah, you're going to be able to do that. In my cases, I'm pretty much always keeping the thinking on. So I'm going to, after the download is complete and after we load the model itself, I'm going to enable the thinking process. And let me show you the command that I'm going to be using. But let me replace the actual quantization that we're going to be running. So this is going to be the command. I'm going to download the dynamic quants that one of you have already suggested with a temperature of 0.6. I think that most of these parameters are coming from the suggestions from the Unsword guide. Let me show you that one because it's kind of important. So here they have the guide for 3.6. Let me turn this into a dark theme. And these are the settings that I'm going to be using essentially here within the Llama server. A temperature of 0.6. This is going to be for coding tasks with a top P and top K and top and min pi P. Presence penalty. Okay, I think that most of those are going to be passed in. I don't think that the presence penalty is something that I have. But other than that, I'm going to be doing pretty much all of these. Okay. Okay, so we are at 90%. Let me look at the comments. I don't think that this model is available for free from OpenRouter. Let me check. And let me check if we have some like pricing for this model on OpenRouter. I haven't done this already. Okay, maybe not even available here. 3.6, 27B. Okay. No, we actually don't have it yet. At least we have just the 3.5. Let's check that one out. So at least on OpenRouter for the 3.5, you can see that it is 20 cents for million input tokens, and for the output it's let's say $6. So I would assume that we're going to have roughly the same pricing if you're going to be using this model via an API. But of course, it's going to be much better if we're going to be able to run it locally. Okay, so let's check on the progress. Okay, almost ready. Let me check the chat if I have answered all of your questions. I'm loading the model. I'll let you know the results. Okay, thank you. I just installed an RTX 6000 AI Pro. These are affordable nowadays. Whoa, that hurt even saying that. Like, how much is the RTX 6000 AI Pro? Like, is it like that expensive? I don't really know. Okay, so it seems like that the llama.cpp has loaded the model, as you can see, guys, here. Let me show you the BitTop for this. And this one is taking roughly 34 gigabytes of memory on my machine. I'm not really sure if this is going to get waggy. So here on the left, you can see that I'm using roughly 40 gigabytes and I have like 7.4 available. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, let's try it out and I'll continue with the questions. Let's see if my computer is going to crash. Okay. So I'm making roughly 10 tokens per second. I think that not the optimized by unswot model was making like 11 or 12. But you can see the performance here on this model. Yeah, and it's going to be like a very slow one, I would assume. I just tested Qwen3.6, the 27 billion UD MLX in an M5 Pro Max, and the speed is 20 tokens per second. Okay, congrats on that. This is quite a bit faster than what I'm getting here. As you can see, I'm getting roughly 10 tokens with this one. And let's actually compare it with the other like variant that I had, the Q4. Let's see how many tokens are we going to get with this one. First, let's see what is the memory usage on that. So this is now loaded with the Q4. We are getting or making roughly, this is pretty much actually the same. Let's run this, reload it, and create a new chat. So this is going to be with the Q4 KM. So roughly the same quant. Yeah, and roughly the same speed actually. This is probably because I'm streaming, so OBS is taking some of the processing speed and the recording itself. This is like a bit better compared to what we had before, but are roughly the same. When the work of your webcam is swacked, yeah, I would assume so. Okay, is everything good now? All right. Probably I'm going to be lagging a lot during this presentation since this is going to take a while. When you generate the webcam is choppy. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so let's continue with this one. Of course, my memory might not be just enough to do everything, but I'll try to do my best here. Okay, so the first test that I'm going to do is going to be the famous now Bulgarian fridge test. Could you try a more white-hearted stuff, creative dialogue, jokes, etc.? Okay. Let's try that, since probably this is going to give me like a much better tokens per second speed. Can you tell me a joke about Bulgarian programmers? Are they any good? Let's see. Okay, so roughly the same tokens per second. Yeah, so I'm sticking to 35 billion parameters at 3x the speed. Yeah, this is pretty much what I'm getting on my machine as well. I was getting roughly maybe around 30 tokens or even 40. Okay, so we're getting a draft here. I'm not really sure if my camera is going to be laggy. I'm going to turn it off for a second just to make sure that this is running fine. I'm still here, guys. Don't worry. And you can see that this model itself is like quite a bit of a thinker as well. Yeah, definitely the A3B or the 35 billion parameter model is definitely quite a bit faster compared to this one. This is honestly quite slow. And it seems like that it is thinking like a what? With my limited code benchmarking, 35B gives me just as good as results at 3x the speed. Okay, so this is a good data point. So you might expect this model to be, yeah, probably better on some of the deeper backend or planning tasks. So Qwen3.6, the 27 billion parameter model at Q5. This is, I would assume, on M5. Oh no, on NVIDIA Tesla V100. About the same as the 3.5 version. After benchmarking, I think I prefer the 3.6 35 billion parameter model. Okay. Caught your video yesterday. Glad to stop by today. Welcome. Okay, let's look at the joke. Like, is it a good guy? Here's a white one. Why do Bulgarian programmers never panic during a server outage? Because they've already written 3 backup scripts, a rollback plan, and a coffee order. Okay. Is this like funny? What do you guys think? Okay, no worries. As for whether they're any good, yes, Bulgarian developers have earned a strong reputation globally. Okay, so this is like an interesting take. So it did give me the joke, and then it wrote essentially a couple of paragraphs about whether or not Bulgarian developers are good or not. Like, okay, so it has answered pretty much both of those. And would you, let's continue this. Very highly secure project. Let's try this one. I just want to check and see how much the context is going to push this model and like the generation speed, as you can see. So currently it seems like that we're getting roughly the same token speed, at least on the second message. And I have started the llama.cpp server with the full context window. So if I reduce that, I have tried to reduce the context window within the llama.cpp server, but I was getting pretty much the same like output speed or token generation speed from before. So I just left it at a maximum. So let's see what we're going to get here. Okay, so pretty much like the mixture of expert model, we are seeing that it is having like this internal step-by-step process given a user query. So it is first analyzing the user input, creating key considerations. Okay, we're going to do that in a bit. Let's see the actual response. So we have the default answer. Trust on a highly secure project shouldn't hinge on nationality. It should hinge on processes, certifications, and verifiable expertise. Okay, so it is citing like a lot of predefined template stuff. I trust a Bulgarian team with a highly secure project, just I would trust a team from anywhere else. Okay, so very template response. Okay, that's fine. I mean, like, this is not why we're here, what we're here for. Okay, so if you want me to test anything else in particular, I would gladly try to do so. And let's continue with image understanding. Hopefully this image is not getting into the training data of any of the model developers. So this is the first thing that I'm going to do, is to pass in this Bulgarian fridge image and ask the model to identify the ingredients and then give me a step-by-step recipe for something quick and hopefully delicious that I can make using what we have into the fridge. And in previous models, I have seen this get stuck in a thinking loop. Unfortunately, with most of the previous Qwen models, this was the case, especially with 3.5, since this model was a notorious overthinker. In Gemma 4, I have seen pretty much the first response that was given to me that was, let's say, okay. We got some reasoning from Gemma 4 as well, but not as much as the Qwen 3.5 models. And let's check here. So we have identify ingredients, top shelf, milk or yogurt drinks. Okay, very good. Maybe some leftovers in containers, jars in the middle, yogurt cups, a bottle of rosé wine. Okay, very good. A UI TARS test would be interesting since it tests desktop usage, but I understand if you don't want to. Do you mess with a repetition and presence penalty, or do you leave them as default? Currently, I'm using the recommended settings here from the unswot guide. I'm going to link that into the chat window if you want to get them from there. But earlier, I have pasted the command that I'm using, which contains all of the settings. So you can try that one. But I'm pretty much taking these settings for the precise coding. So I'm going to be doing the coding tests in a bit if this model is going to perform good enough in open code. Except that I don't set the presence penalty, I don't think, and the repeat penalty. So these are the settings that we're going to be running. Okay, let's see if we have some output. Not so far. So it is thinking about the different recipes that it can do. It has already identified the ingredients. Most of those that I have looked into, cornichon back pickles. So this is cornichon or something like that. Okay, great. Garlic bulb, red tomato, dark chocolate pecans, jar of pesto. Okay. So there was a question of UI TARS. What do you mean by UI TARS? What is that? I might not be familiar with that term. Another question, how well did Qwen 3.54 billion do with Bulgarian? Well, unfortunately, I haven't tried pretty much any of the models in Bulgarian. Like, I'm not very, let's say, interested into Bulgarian styles of using LLMs and AI models. I think that for Bulgarians, especially, we have this model called BG GPT or something like that, which is, I would guess, like specially trained for Bulgarian language. So maybe that model is going to be performing quite a bit better compared to Qwen 3.6 and possibly Gemma. But in general, I've seen that the Gemma 4 models are performing better in different languages compared to the Qwen 3.6. But this might be just my like very limited testing. So I haven't done like many translation or other language-based tests there. Okay, so interesting thing here is that we are pretty much getting this generation speed, which again is pretty slow, but it is at least consistent. Let's check the usage of the memory. So I still have roughly 8 gigabytes available on my machine. Okay, so UI TARS is an open source tool. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so it's automated GUI interaction with native agents. Okay, so it is essentially an agent for your desktop, if I understand this correctly. Okay, that's very interesting. I haven't like run anything like this on my machine. So maybe in some of the other like streams we can do that, but I would definitely try to run this in a contained environment. So if you know how this can be run in like a Docker container or something like that, that would be awesome. It's basically Quote desktop use that is open source. Okay, great. I'll make sure to like bookmark this. It is looking quite interesting. Okay, so we already are generating a response. Let's check it out. And I'm going to go through the coding itself since after this test is complete, since pretty much we are getting roughly 50 votes, almost 50 votes. And coding is the number one use case that you guys want to see. So I have updated the open code settings that I have, and we're going to be able to run this model with that. Yes, I agree that would be smart. So I would mention it though. Have you used any of the open models with the UI tars? And like, what is the best model? Also, you're saying that Qwen3.6 35B is performing quite good with it. Do you have like an use case for that, or you're just like trying it out when you were doing it? Like, did you make it do some useful task or workflow for you? Like open Excel sheet, put something in it, something like that. So, hello, as an expert chef, I've analyzed your fridge. Okay, that sounds promising. It's actually quite well stocked for a quick, elegant, and fresh meal. You have the makings of a fantastic Mediterranean style salad. Okay, so this is definitely a suggestion that I haven't seen from any of the other Qwen or Gemma 4 models. Main ingredients. So tomato, a bag of leafy greens, a block of white cheese, okay, several yogurt cups and milk yogurt drinks. A box of cornichons, small French pickles. They're Bulgarian. What do you mean French pickles? Like, nobody says that cornichons are French pickles. They're Bulgarian, man. Which system is he using? Well, I'm running this in a llama.cpp UI. This is the default UI that is available. And when you start this llama.cpp server that we have started, let me show you, that we have started here, you then are presented with this link when the model is running. Let me show you with this link. And when you open this link, you are essentially going to open the default llama.cpp UI. So this is the UI that llama.cpp is shipping with. So this is what we're testing and with what we're testing so far. And in a couple of minutes or seconds, I'm going to be switching to open code. Okay. The recipe, pan-seared halloumi salad with pesto and cornichons. Okay, this actually sounds like something that I would like to try. The meal is quick, under 15 minutes. Okay, ingredients with the step-by-step preparation. Save the dark chocolate pecans in the door for a sweet finish. Okay. Pour a glass of that rosé and enjoy your meal. The chef's touch. Okay. Open the box of cornichons and scatter a handful over the salad. The acidity of the pickles cuts through the richness of the cheese and pesto perfectly. Okay, I really like this approach and like the ingeniousness of this model. So this I would say is pretty good score for the fridge test. Looks cool. I'm sure it can automate mindless tasks like downloading files on separate pages. Yeah, probably something like that if you're talking about the UI tars. I was using it to test the UI of an app and I'm building to find bugs. Okay, so great. You have like some very real use case for it. Great. on that. Okay, so we have seen the llama.cpp UI with this model. And also what I want to try now is to open the AI project template that we have so far. Let me show you the GitHub repository for that, if you're not familiar with the project itself. So this is the project that we are building for the past couple of live streams. And I'm pasting the link here. And this is a starter template for AI application or a AI-based SaaS application. And the idea behind this project is that this is going to be a free template that you might use in order to start your RAG or agentic application. And this one is going to have a backend and a frontend. The backend is going to be a fast API. And the frontend in this default form is going to be a Next.js application. And we can go through pretty much the whole code. But what is going to be important here is that we have this PRD or this project specification. And within this project specification, we are describing pretty much all the functionality, all the tech stack for the backend, the frontend, the infrastructure, along with some very important data classes that we're going to be using within this application, along with the endpoints and pretty much the whole functionality that this starter template is going to have. So what I'm going to do is open this project into open code. But first I wanted to show you that this one is going to be running with our 27 billion parameter model. Let me change that here. And this is going to be pointing to our model itself. And this is going to be coming from this provider, which is going to be llama.cpp. And this is going to be the model that we're going to be running, the same one that I have shown you thus far within our llama.cpp UI. And here you can see that we have already tested the 35 billion parameter model inside of this open code UI. And now we're going to be also testing the 27 billion parameter model. I was able to get roughly maybe over 30 tokens per second for the 35 billion parameter model. Unfortunately for this one, as you can see, we can pretty much get only like 10 or something like that. Let me turn the camera just for a second. And in order to run this, I'm going to open the project folder and I'm going to open code inside of it. And we have some kind of error. What did I... Do I have... maybe I don't have enough memory? Okay. That was interesting. Yeah, okay. Okay, so it seems like it is running now. Let me increase this. And let me again hide my camera. Just because probably I'm not going to be able to show you what is happening if I'm not looking into the camera itself. So let's try with something very basic here just to try out things. What is the project about? And this is going to, at least the first one is going to be like pretty slow, since we are going to be loading, I think, pretty much the whole system prompt, which is going to be roughly 10k tokens into the system prompt, so within our llama.cpp server. I wish I had a better computer. I'm enjoying Qwen3.6 9b a lot though. Very good for Lisp development. Also, even for a Lisp development, these models are like working. That's very interesting. Which team is your open code? Let's check it out. So I'm using the matrix team. Okay. So this is the one that I'm going to be using. And at least on the first run, you can see that this one is taking like quite a long time. But once the model has loaded the initial cache of the conversation, you're going to see that this is going to pick up like quite a lot, hopefully. It would be great, guys, while we are waiting. If you can, I would be really appreciative if you can just like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more torturing of my local machine just to try and run these models into local environments. That would be amazing. Thank you, guys. And if anybody has any questions, please put them into the chat. I'll try to answer everything. So the first thing that we are seeing now is that once the model starts to generate some information, you are seeing the actual speed of the output. The user is asking about what the project is about. I should look at the project structure and key files like readme, package, etc. So it is now reading the readme file. And note that we are already at 12K tokens. So this is the primary reason why we were waiting so much for the output of the original message, since probably OpenCode has like a very large like system window. So there is a question, Qwen3.6 35B or 27B. Currently we are testing the 27B, and I think it's a very powerful model, but unfortunately on my machine it's not the fastest model. So if you can run this version of the model, it would be probably amazing. Okay, so it has read through the README file, a monorepo boilerplate for building AI SaaS applications, backend, Python fast API with document upload, thread management, and streaming chat via LangGraph, supports multiple LLM providers. Okay, great. Frontend, Next.js with app router. Let me provide another prompt here. And while this one is running, I'm going to try to read what we were given. What do you think about the project? Pros and cons. How to make it? 9.5 out of 10. Let's see what critiques are going to get for this model. And it also have found that we have EUV for Python dependency management, pre-commit hooks, which is correct, and TypeScript type checking. And it is suggesting to see the PRD for full project spec. Okay. Okay, so now I have pasted in this prompt. The user wants a critical review of the project. Let me explore the code base more thoroughly to give a well-informed assessment. So it has started a local task, maybe with the sub agent. Let's check it out. So this is the prompt that was given to the sub agent. So this was done automatically, as you can see. I need a comprehensive review of this AI SaaS boilerplate, read PRD and to do. Explore the backend, frontend, etc. Okay. And this sub agent was automatically started by OpenCode. I'm pretty much impressed with that. I don't think that I have seen any of the other local models start a sub agent. Nice, I like when they use the sub agents correctly. Yeah, exactly. I think that probably some of the system prompt information was related to sub agents, and this model has started the sub agent on its own, which again is pretty amazing, as you are already suggesting. This one is great. Let's see what is going to give us from the PRD. So it has a read through the PRD. I tried to make a browser use subagent to keep the web context in the subagent, but haven't been successful yet. Have you tried to do this in OpenCode or like a general subagent within like another harness or your own custom harness? So it has read through the to-do. Now it is exploring the directory structure. Okay. As you can see, it's very systematic into the approach of what it's doing, which is something that I have seen from the frontier models. I was trying with OpenCode. Yeah, that's actually an interesting idea. I haven't like read anything about OpenCode and how the subagents are working under the hood. I haven't like started a subagent on my own. So I was really surprised and impressed when I saw that this subagent is created. And I would assume that this prompt was created by the Qwen model, since it is very specific about the files and to the directories, etc. So I would assume that this prompt was written from it. And it is looking like quite a good prompt as well for the subagent. Okay, so it is going systematically to pretty much every file right now. Again, quite slow, but if I wasn't streaming and recording, probably I would get like maybe 2 or 3 tokens more per second. Definitely with M5 Pro, I would be interested in looking into the difference of the inference speed with this model. And honestly, 4-bit quantization is like the minimum that I would like to try this model with. Anything further below that is going to be like pretty much not like something that is not going to be representable for the ability of the model. Okay, so it is reading a lot of the files. Let me check during this time. Do you know if the subagent is running correctly in parallel or it is just queuing? Well, if I go up into the hierarchy, you can see that it is running, the parent is actually waiting for the subagent to complete. So I would assume that the parent was like suspended, if you will, waiting for the subagent to complete the task. And then after the response is being returned, then the parent is going to continue with that. I always have to start subagents in different OpenCode windows to use LM Studio's concurrent workers in parallel. Yeah, let's actually try to look into OpenCode subagents. I haven't looked into that. So here we have a sponsored results. Okay, so this is the agent's documentation. Let's go into here. And let's go into the subagents. I've only seen OpenCode create the session title in parallel. Yeah, so actually the session title, I have read through that. The session title is created from this small model, which you are able to configure here. And when you are getting or putting this model inside of this configuration, you are going to be calling it when your title is going to be generated for the session. So keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, my computer is getting very laggy, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see the sub-agents. Sub-agents are specialized assistants that primary agents can invoke for specific tasks. Okay, so here it says that primary agents can invoke those for specific tasks, and you can also manually invoke them by mentioning them in your messages. So we have two built-in sub-agents, General and Explore. Okay. Maybe after this is complete, I'm going to look into the sub-agents. So we have the build and the plan agents. If we have 16 gigabytes of GPU, which size and quantization is most logical to use? So yeah, with 16 gigabytes of GPU, probably I'm not going to try this dense model. At least I'm going to try maybe if we get smaller version of the 3.6, or maybe try like the 35 billion mixture of expert model with, no, actually you won't be able to even put it onto your memory. So I don't think that using a GPU with 16 gigabytes of VRAM is going to be enough to run these models into good quants. Of course, if you have much more DDR RAM, probably you can offload some of the model weights on that. Maybe clears context window too. Do you mean that about the sub-agents? If that is the case, I would probably assume that this is the case. So we have these built-in sub-agents, a general purpose agent for researching complex questions, executing multi-step tasks, has full tool access. So the suggestion is to stick to the 3.6 35 billion at Q4. So good quant is 8Q or 8-bit quantization. Yeah, 8-bit quantizations are pretty much amazing. They are very close to the original models. So if your hardware is allowing you to use those versions, please do use those. Okay, and we have the Explore agent, a fast read-only agent for exploring code bases. So it makes sense that our Qwen model has actually used this sub-agent for the exploration. As you can see, this is still running. And it is saying, let me check a few more files. So this exploration is really thorough. And then we have a compaction. If we are getting too much of a one context. And this is the title agent, hidden system agent that generates short session titles. It runs automatically and is not selectable in the UI. So it is actually an agent that is using this small model in order to write the title for your session. This is pretty great. The summary agent, session summaries, are not able to create those. And how can we create our own agents? You can customize the built-in agents or create your own through configuration. Agents can be configured in two ways. A JSON. Okay, so for the agents that we can create, you can give it a name. So somebody is saying that the 27 billion parameter version of the model at Qwen3.6 is going to be a little smarter, but 3 to 4 times slower. Yeah, a lot slower. And not really usable on 16 gigabytes of VRAM. You might be able to get away with 35B5 bit quantization. That will give great results. Yeah, I would completely agree. The 35 billion parameter model with 5-bit quantization was performing quite well. Okay, so in OpenCode, we can use this to create our own subagents. And in Markdown, we can also use front matter, as you can see here, and give them like a longer prompt. Okay, so this is very interesting. I'm not really sure if OpenCode is shipping with, or like, is there like a GitHub repository that is having these additional agents? Maybe we can download some of them, or maybe we can create our own. And what is cool here is that you can also select the model for this specific subagent. So for example, if you're building a subagent that is going to require, let's say, not so much of an extensive and hard task, this is going to be performing quite well with these subagents. Okay, thanks to everybody that is trying to help to other members into the chat. I really appreciate it. Okay, this is still checking, as you can see. I didn't expect that this is going to be so thorough. Like, this is like a lot of checkings. But overall, the conclusions of each check, as you can see, the thinking files are pretty much spot on. But unfortunately, it didn't do like a tree command just to check and make sure what is available, but it's checking like Docker files, GitHub Actions, Docker Compose, front-end tests, like one by one. Haven't like done a global tree to look at the all available files. Okay, so the thinking is done. Great. What is the summary so far? Better than Gemma 4, better than Sonnet 4.6. Well, the Sonnet 4.6, in my opinion, is like a very, very good model, especially if you know how to like prompt it. So definitely not at the same level. About Gemma 4, unfortunately, as you can see, the speed or the inference speed on my machine with this model is like very slow. So I'm not still able to say if this model is performing better than Gemma 4. But if I'm looking through the thinking here and parts of the understanding of the code, since I have put it pretty much the model into this repository, which is somewhat of an already built backend, I'm seeing quite a bit of good stuff coming out from this model. And if I was able to run this model in, let's say, 25 or 30 tokens per second, this could have been my, let's say, walkout driver. And at the start, I would prefer it instead of the Gemma 4 model, even the dense one. And let's see what is the conclusion based on this. I'd like to try to generate all the auto XML views from the model. What are those actually? And one other thing that I have tried was to generate SVG. Thank you, Luca. One thing that I have tried was to generate an SVG, and I'm going to try the SVG generation prompt at the end, just to show you the result. Since we have tried to to generate an SVG with Qwen 2.6. So I get 28 tokens per second with, okay, so it has been reducted. So getting 26 tokens per second with 27 6-bit quantization, is it good enough? Man, that's amazing. If you're really getting that speed, you would be getting like this model running quite well locally. My current machine, what you're seeing on the screen, is M4 Pro with 48 gigabytes of memory. Okay, so this comment really is pretty amazing. Gemma does better with my crap quality prompts than Qwen. Qwen wants me to use words and make sense. Yeah, unfortunately, most of the models yet need to be prompted with something that makes sense. Unfortunately, maybe over time this is going to change. In Odoo, you have the models like Django and then the UI in some XML config files. Okay, interesting. Kanban views, list views, filter view, and they are repetitive as hell. Okay. While this is running, let's check Odoo. Models. So M4 Pro is better than M5, right? I'm not really sure if this is the case. I have like a somewhat of a surprise for you guys. I might be getting an upgrade soon to my local machine, but unfortunately, probably I'm not going to be able to run this model even with the new machine. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I hope that I'm going to get like 5-7 tokens more per second, which is going to be great compared to these 10 tokens that I'm getting. Okay, so this is the Odoo docs. Not really familiar with that. Okay, developer tutorial. So you were saying that, okay, so this is like something deep enterprise stuff. And you're saying that this is creating like XML based models. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so still looking through that. Let me check the comments. Okay, that's 3 times what we're seeing now. Yeah, according to the 25, regarding the 28 tokens per second, that's like perfect, like very usable. I'm looking at getting an M1 Max with 64 gigabytes of RAM to run local models while I wait for Codex quote code 5-hour limits to reset. Thanks again for the info. So far, do you think Qwen3.6 or Gemma 31B are usable? Yeah, I would essentially try them out against each other on a similar code base, since this is going to be something that you want to try. And I would essentially start or interleave their use. For example, in one session, I might go with the Gemma 4 model. In the other session, I might go with the Qwen model and just try them out. In this model, in this project that we are running, I have used like a mix of a Qwen 2.6, the local Qwen3.6, the 35 billion parameter version of the model, and maybe some part of the thinking was created with Gemini 3.1 Pro. So it is essentially a very large mix of different models, and I don't see anything wrong with that, especially if you have like a project that has good guardrails. In our case, I have like tests and additional checks, formatting and typing checks, etc., which are trying to keep things like, let's say, somewhat clean. So this is what I'm relying on in order to get this to work somewhat properly. But definitely, if you're using like models, larger models, you're going to get better results. And again, guys, like if you're using Opus 4.7 or something like that, it is going to be night and day difference compared to what you're seeing with these open models. Even between GOM 5.1 and KimiK 2.6 Opus models and GPT 5.4 models are like on another planet. If you're doing something that is a bit more complex and the projects are a bit larger compared to what you're seeing here. Yeah, so of course, Open Router is another option and quite a good one. Okay. Let me check the comments. I just bought a Corsair 300 AI workstation. Okay, congrats on that. What is that? Corsair 300 AI workstation. Not familiar with this setup. Oh, it's this one. Let's check it out. So congrats on your new purchase. So it has okay, it has like this iGPU. Have you like run with this? Like, have you tried some Waco LLM? And what you're getting with such a machine? Does this current one become your LLM rig? My current laptop is going to be probably being retired, and I'm going to be swapping for the newer one. Hopefully, I'm going to get much faster inference speed. Okay, so there is a comment. I think the M4 Pro will be faster. So this is in regard for the M5 because it has a lot of higher bandwidth, which is the biggest bottleneck. Yeah, as you can see, at least from the BTOP, I am very like within the limits of the memory of this model. I'm able to like put it into memory on this machine even while I'm streaming. And the unfortunate thing here is that the inference speed is not that great. Of course, this might change into the future, but the fact remains that probably I don't have like enough GPU power on this machine. What is the purpose of Open Router exactly? I can use any open source model as API. Yeah, Open Router is essentially a marketplace for AI model providers. So, for example, you might get for one API call Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.4 or KimiK 2.6, and you can use pretty much everything in a unified server API. And using that, you're going to be able to essentially just pay for the API requests and you're not going to be needing like a local machine. What I don't like currently about Open Router and pretty much about any of the other LLM providers is that you don't have a guarantee of what is happening with the model that is going to be served to you. So, for example, you might be getting a 4-bit quantization of a model, and you might be paying for 8-bit quantized model. I mean, the price for that. And you essentially don't have the knowledge of what is happening under the hood, which is, of course, not great. And when you're hosting the model yourself, you're going to be well aware of the quantization, the inference speeds, the throughputs, pretty much everything that you want to understand when you're running the model. So another option instead of open router, of course, is to rent GPUs or buy GPUs and run models on top of that. So essentially, this is something that you guys might want to consider. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Thanks to everyone that is currently asking questions. I hope that you guys are enjoying my pain. Okay, so you can see that the full code base review took 57 tool calls. Note that I don't think that we have seen even a single tool call that has failed. So this is quite an achievement for an open model into this harness exactly in open code. So this is something that the authors of Qwen models should be very happy with and very proud of. Unfortunately, the full code base review on my machine on this small code base took 26 minutes. This is a lot. I wouldn't be waiting that much for such a simple code review. And the subagent has now completed the task, and you can see that the parent agent is getting the response, essentially looking through the output or the final output of the subagent, and it is continuing with the thinking process. Okay. So it is giving us a summary. And it says overall 7.1 out of 10. Solid backend core, incomplete frontend. We don't have any frontend at the moment. Let's see what are the negatives. No concurrency guard on chat streams. This is actually by design. I don't want to have something that is going to be deleted as at the moment that you're going to be starting to be building a real project. User message persists in thread if LM stream fails. Orphaned messages, yeah, that's all right. No timeout on LM calls. Hunk provider holds worker connections forever. Yeah, but for a starter template, this is okay. Graph rebuild on every request instead of compiled once at startup. Okay, so this is a good point. We should be able to fix that. Okay, so these are the critical stuff according to the parent agent. Zero logging anywhere, impossible to debug in production. I agree. No metrics, no request IDs, no tracing, no type checker. Okay. I would assume that Pyrite would be a great addition here. Message response row is string instead of literal. Okay, so this is something that I have run even Opus 4.7, and it didn't mention that the row is a string instead of an enum or a literal. So I'm going to give props to Qwen3.6, the 27 billion parameter model, for catching that one. So congrats on adding this. This is really important, at least in my opinion. It is making it a bit easier to work with and more type safe. Settings is a better class instead of pedantic base settings with secret string. Okay, this might be a good addition as well. API keys, yeah, that's at the moment that's fine for the starter. No rate limiting. Okay, so what are the suggestions based on the output? Are per thread async IO. I have essentially deleted this from the PRD. I don't want this complication, at least for the starter. Rollback user message on stream failure. Okay, not going to do that into the starter. Timeout for LM streaming. Yep, that's a good one, but probably not going to do that. Mail build graph a module level singleton. Replace settings. Okay, with pedantic base settings on and secret strings. Okay, let's try one very simple addition. And let's see how much time and if the Qwen model is going to be able to actually do some changes on our project. Okay, so fix number 4, build graph. And follow the development. No, let's just do that, and I'm going to see if it is going to first run the tests and write the tests for that. Okay, let me now try to catch up with the chat. Okay. I think people like it because one plan and you can try any model. So this is in regard to Open Router, I would assume. Yes, so you are essentially buying credits, and from there you are able to use any of the provider and any of the models that are available on Open Router. What's your GPU? I'm running on M4 with M4 Pro MacBook with 48 gigabytes of RAM. I have a Dell version with similar specs. I can run up to around 110. Okay. At 4-bit quantization, or okay, so you're talking about this machine that we have seen, but the Dell version of it. Okay. So you're going to be able to run with that about 110 billion parameter models and 70 billion parameter models with 6 to 8-bit quantization. Okay, that's great. And that's code stealing. Haha. Okay. Forgot to ask what quant are you running. Currently, I'm running the 4-bit. Let me show you. Wow, this is running. I'm running this particular quant from unswat. This one. So it is going on. Sorry, it is going to be the Q4 KMGGF, and this is like 17 gigabytes of storage. But when loaded, at least with my llama server, as you can see, this is taking roughly 33 gigabytes of memory. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Okay, so we are already seeing some changes from the model, which is great. Straightforward fix: compile the graph once at the module level, then import a singleton everywhere. Okay. Now update the test usages. Okay. We're seeing some changes running. Yeah, I do hate when open routers serve a lower quant than I want. You basically have to block the host in your settings. Yeah, you can essentially for the open router config, what I have done in for the KMK 2.6, I have just specified a provider, and many of you guys in the yesterday stream have suggested to use Novita AI, which was supposedly running in 8-bit quantization, and I was able to do that, and it was running pretty smoothly with that provider. With some of the other providers, I didn't have such a good luck. So we are seeing that the Qwen model was also able to run some tests, which is good. So these tests are being run after the changes were completed. So the model was essentially smart enough to know that the tests should be run. Okay, so in roughly 4 minutes, which is relatively the same time that I'm waiting for quote Opus 4.7 for some of the tasks, we are getting the fix for this critical bug, or not bug, but just let's say optimization. Our lang graph is going to be compiled just once, so this is somewhat of an optimization. Let's check the actual test changes. So it is importing the compiled graph. Okay, let's try to run this. And let's just check the server to make sure that it is running, and the health status, at least that is running as well. Okay, this is staying a status okay. So the server at least was able to be started. And okay, so I would assume that this is like a good starting point for us, and it actually did an edit. So this was like pretty good. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to remember that, and maybe off stream I'm going to continue with some of the exploration, at least on this project, within this particular task. What I want you guys to see now is something that I'm going to take from here. Let me create a folder. What test I wanted to try. Let's now take this. Let me open cursor into this directory. Create an open code file. Let me close this. And let's now go into a completely new project. And does open code take pictures? Let's check it out and see. And here I want to try out something that I was a bit interested in. So let's see first if this is going to take an image. Okay, it seems like that it is going to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you the images. So this is essentially an image of my GitHub repository. I have just took this like earlier in like an hour ago or something like that. And I have another image from my LinkedIn account and another one from my experience within my LinkedIn account. So use these images to create a simple CV/resume website for ML/AI engineer. Use matrix like vibe with minimalistic and techie like a vibe. Use simple and let's say quad design for the whole app. Create a single HTML/JS CSS file that would represent the whole website. And here I'm going to try and run this, save into index.html. So I'll just ask it based on the images that I have shown you guys to just run this. Let's try it out. Okay, so it is taking the images. I'm not really sure if those images are going to get to the llama.cpp server, but hopefully they are going to get there. Okay, did you see the caveman repo? It can save you a lot of tokens by just giving some instructions. Yeah, I'm very interested if some of you guys have run this caveman instructions repository, and have you guys tried to evaluate the accuracy with and without this skill? I'm really interested if the model accuracy and the performance of those models is going to be worse when using this like skill. Can start a review and then go for a walk. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, so here you're seeing that this is taking roughly, it has started quite a bit faster. So it is saying that it cannot read the images, unfortunately. Okay. So if it can do that, let me get this prompt and try the UI of llama.cpp, because those images are going to be kind of important. Let's do that. Let's add the prompt. And let's again add the images. So GitHub, LinkedIn, and LinkedIn again. Sticky like vibe. Typography first, readable and usable UX/UI. Okay, let's go with this. Okay, so we have passed all of those images. I hope that all of those are going to be passed to the server. Or you might have to set the multimodalities for Qwen3.6 27b into the config. You have to tell it it has image modality. There is a mention in this in the open code code. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you. Let's see. Open code multimodality. So maybe not this one. Okay. Images. Do we have something? If you find something like this into the documentation, maybe you can send it to me, because I don't explicitly see the configuration for the models. Maybe somewhere around here, configure models. So I'm seeing the reasoning effort. Let's see if we have something here about images. Modality, no. I don't see anything about that so far. Oh well, if you find something about that, saw something on Reddit with modalities. Okay, if you guys like find it somewhere, I would be really grateful if you share it with me, because definitely in open code I would like to be able to pass images and hopefully install additional agents that are running the different modalities of those models. Okay. So let me go through the comments while we're waiting for the HTML. Note that I wanted to try this into a harness just to make sure that we're going to get somewhat of a better output, hopefully, for the design itself. But here within the UI, we're going to be getting this from the model, like the output of it. Okay. How much context did you give this file? I'm running it with the maximum context, so 262k context window. And at least on my machine, it seems to be the case that no matter the context, I'm getting roughly or using roughly 33 to 34 gigabytes of memory when the model is loaded. So not really sure how the magic is happening with the MacBooks, or it might be the case that I'm not taking so much context. Okay, in practice, I really need much more than 60k tokens for small problems anyways. Yeah, I would agree with that, but in like larger repositories or projects, the tokens can very quickly escalate. And even yesterday when I was trying KimiK 2.6, I was getting like maybe for some of the tasks we were getting roughly to 60 70k of the tokens, even on the same project that I have run the open code inside the AI project template. Okay, well, is this good for OpenQuo? Well, not really sure. If you are going to be able to run it locally with good enough speed, let me know how it is going to be performing in OpenQuo. But from what I'm seeing and the actual capability of this model to call different tools, this is performing like quite well. We've seen in OpenCode the like 50 or so tool calls that were performed by the model, so pretty amazing. I've been using this model for the last 2 days on my MacBook M5 Max, 128 gigabytes. For the last 2 days, did you have like some crazy access to the model? Like this is a new model from like 4 to 5 hours ago. So if you got like additional extra access extra early, congrats. The desktop app seems to be able to look at images. Yeah, I am running it into my terminal, not really sure. Maybe this is why, but at least in quote code, the terminal application is also able to accept images. It is dynamically scaling as the context grows. If you fill the context, the memory usage will grow. Okay, thank you. Maybe I haven't like run enough of the context with the llama.cpp server. I'm at 33 gigabytes so far. And even with the open code, I maybe haven't put it into enough stress. So there is an issue on open code, I would assume, with GitHub. Let me see if you have such issue. Let me take the ID of the issue. Okay. Let me copy the link. Missing documentation for modalities. Property in custom provider configuration. Okay, so this seems to be the case. Okay, so I need to add the modalities here. Okay, let's try this one out. Just to make sure that the open code is going to be able to accept it. Let me zoom in this one for you guys. So we're using this one. And after the name, they suggest that we put this. And for the output, I want just text. Okay, let's see. After I get this, which is probably at the end, I'm going to try again with the open code. So it's a closed issue. Yeah, closed issue. But it's like quite a old one. But nothing into the docs seems to be. Let's see. There is nothing into the docs that is pointing to this configuration. Yet I don't find anything here about that. I noticed, yeah, okay. It doesn't start growing much until around 100k context on PC at least. Okay, so good to know. Maybe 100k is going to be like pretty much enough for all of our tasks. At least that is how Gemma 431b behaved with context size for me on Windows. Okay, thank you for the input. Is this better than Kimi K2.6? Well, so far I would say no. Kimi K2.6 had very good capabilities for UI design, at least. Let's see if this is done. Probably not yet. Oh, it is done actually. Okay, let's do the thing and try to open the repository or the project. So here into the portfolio. Okay, so I did a typo here. Okay, let's put the HTML. And let me go ahead and open the set HTML. So this is the resulting HTML site. So recall that we have just given some images. Let me show you again the prompt. Some images from my GitHub repository, my LinkedIn, just the images, no additional information was given along with the prompt. And this is the result. Okay. So it had read pretty much all of the information correctly. Experience, AI Bootcamp, Rackbase, ML from scratch. These are all GitHub repositories that were pretty much visible. Okay. System exit 0. Built with minimalism and logic. All systems operational. All right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Especially for a local model. I don't know. What do you guys think? Pretty much all of the information here is correct. It seems like that the OCR capability of the model was pretty good. All right. And let's try the open code one as a final test. Let's see if now we can do the image. Let me close this. Nice. I think it's funny. It added your Mac buttons to the top left. Yeah, actually it did. Actually, it did that. It did do that. Let's see if OpenCode now is going to be able to pass in the images. And have we finally been able to figure the configuration out? Thank you for that, by the way. That if this is going to work, it's going to be really helpful for future reference, of course. And just a reminder, guys, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you want to look more into tests like that and pretty much torturing local hardware, because this is what we're doing. Welcome. They should document that now that more coders, more models, I would assume, are multimodal. Yeah, I would uh, I would also encourage you guys to go into their issue sections. I'm going to paste the link to the issue itself, and you can guys go and vote on it if you guys want to have something that is going to be much more visible. Okay, so it seems to be working actually. The user is asking me to describe what's on the image. The image shows a GitHub profile for when I revoke username, etc. Okay, okay, so we are able to get this to work. Okay, now I would like to see the difference. Okay, if you guys want to stick around, let's try to get this to work with exactly the same prompt, just to make a comparison between this and essentially what we got with the clean model without the harness. Again, thank you very much for the tip of how this is all working. Okay, save in. Let me go into the files just to make sure that this index file is going to be preserved. This is going to be the index web, since it was created from llama.cpp. Okay, the same prompt, save in index.html with the same images, and we're going to compare it. Okay, let me now go to the comments again, since this is starting to work. The combo of Qwen3.6 35B being so good, fast, and with quote forcing people to the 100 bucks plan forced me to cancel quote. I'm local only now. What do you mean they have removed quote code from the cheapest option? Is this the case? I have read something about that, but I'm not really sure if it is true. So quote code is essentially removing people from the quote code plan if you're on the 20 bucks per month. Is this correct? It's nice to be able to show the bot a screenshot of the web page and say make it better. Yeah, we can actually try this. And another thing that I have been using lately, but let's say with the more powerful models, is this one. Let me show you. It was being shared from a colleague of mine, and it is working quite well. It's from Vercel. This is the agent browser, and it comes essentially with a SKU that is going to run a test browser or test Chrome browser on your local machine. And when the agent wants to see something about the web page, for example, that he's going to be working on, it is going to start this test browser or test Chrome browser, and essentially it's going to do some clicks, do some scrolling, go to different pages, etc. Take screenshots automatically, read the screenshots, and then try to iterate and improve on that. So it's a really powerful skill and tool overall in order to make your models iterate over the visual parts of your designs. So give it a try. It's free one. What quantization are you at, bro? I am at 4-bit quantization from Onslaught, and I'm running this Q4KM model, roughly 17 gigabytes of storage space. But at least on my machine, this is taking roughly 33 gigabytes of memory. Okay, I love the work. Don't forget to like this live stream, folks. Yeah, please. This would mean the world to me if you just like the stream and subscribe to the channel. I can't wait for the 9 billion parameter version of the model. Yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing as well. And honestly, the Qwen 3.5 model in the 9 billion parameter range was pretty much my walkout driver for rack-based applications and agentic, like tool calling stuff within agentic racks and workflows. It is quite a reliable model for that. And hopefully the 3.6 version of the model is going to be much better. Why do you choose open code versus Pi? Is it better for benchmarking and testing models? Well, I'm not like a fanboy of open code or Pi or pretty much any of the harnesses, but I have been testing like open code on Gemma 4 and Qwen 3.6, the mixture of expert model, and I have been testing the Pi agent with Gemma 4 only, I believe. And the Pi agent would require from you to have some additional configuration in order to create something that is a bit more usable. And that's good if you spend some time to configure it. I like to think of it like a Vim config, if you're familiar with the V or Vim editors. And after some configuration, I would think that the Pi agent is going to be much better, especially for my personal needs. But I haven't spent the time to like configure the Pi agent. In my day work, I'm mostly using Quote Code, and I frankly don't have enough time to, at least for now, spend on a Pi agent. So this is my answer to that. Yes, they're removing Quote Code from the Pro plan. It hasn't started yet though. However, usage limits is terrible now. Sonnet just burned all my $20 of usage in 10 minutes on a single HTML. So even the Sonnet, that's not the Opus model. That's like horrible. Okay, yeah. I think that the guys from Anthropic are maybe overstepping some boundaries. Like their stuff is getting very expensive. I'm not saying that their models are bad. Their models are pretty amazing. But like they want now just $100 at least for this is going to be like a bit too much, at least at least in my opinion. Okay, so this is essentially doing the preparation for the write of the HTML file, and I would assume that the HTML file is just going to be presented at some point into the repository. Okay. I have been testing Qwen 3.6, the mixture of expert model, with 128 contexts in my agentic coding stack. It's been going for 12 hours and almost done with 1,300 line spec. Wow, that's amazing. What quantization are you using with that? That's pretty good. I would rather access Opus via router, open router. Yeah, that's the option that you also have if you want to have like much more fine-grained usage, like control over that. Hello, and thank you for joining. Welcome to everybody who is now joining. Okay, so you're using a 4-bit quantized version of the mixture of expert model, and even at 4-bit quantization, you're getting such a good result. Well, that's great. It's been going for 12 hours. Man, that's amazing. Very good. Like an year ago, I wouldn't believe that those open models are going to be so good that at least for some of the workflows that you guys have, and also I do run as well, I wouldn't believe that you would be able to run some of those models on a local laptop and just let them do some work, especially coding. But here we are looking at some of those models, and honestly, maybe in some time we're going to be catching up to the current versions of the cloud-based models, and this is going to be amazing. It would be great to not be needing like any of those larger models to be able to do actual work. I haven't reviewed all the output, but it looks good so far. It didn't 100% follow instructions, but it is completing the features as designed. Okay, so it is still doing some parts of the work. Yeah, unfortunately, with the open models, what I have found so far is that you have to babysit them a lot more, and essentially you have to give them like guardrails, things that are going to be automated checks that are going to check for parts of the generated code that is not going to be according to your needs or specification, features, etc. And if you give this and provide the tools to the open models, they are going to be somewhat better. Also, the coding harness that you're going to be using, like open code, it is going to be really important if you want to work with something like that. The past 2 months, okay, so we have some file already. Let's just wait for the finish. The past 2 months have been game-changing for local models. In my limited tests, Qwen3.6 35 billion is on par with current Sonnet. Benchmarks show it matches 4.5 Opus, but that can be due to benchmarking. Yeah, there is a lot of benchmarking with these open models for sure, but it remains the case that these models are actually being useful. Let's see, after so much work and the open code version of the website, what we're going to get. Okay, so this one is the version that we got from open code, and we have actually in the background we have some matrix like arranging effect. Okay, so for a reference, this is the one from the web UI, and this one is coming from, wow, so this one is coming from the open code version. Of course, this might be due to the seed or any other changes, but this one also has like working, wow, so this one have even working links here on the bottom. The one that was created here from the web UI had just GitHub and web link, but this one has YouTube, X link, email link. Okay. Here is the experience. So here the web UI actually read the image correctly, and here we have a typo on the open code one, but that's okay. Other than that, it looks pretty good. The overall theme is very simple, but it is like very closely aligned with what we have into the images and within the prompt. Getting things done. Okay. The AI Bootcamp repository. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good, especially for a starter. Have an awesome day here at the end. Nice touch. Okay, let's try to give it like an additional screenshot here. And let me try to get just another thing, guys. Let me try to get this to work with the front-end design skill. I have it into the AI project template. Let's try to improve on that and see what is going to happen after another iteration. If I open this, create an open code directory, then add new one called SKUs. SKUs. Is this correct? SKUs, then front-end design. Maybe I'll have to restart the open code, but I'm going to add the front-end design SKU here into the repository. I'm going to just paste. This is the original front-end design that is coming from Anthropic. So I'm going to be using that. Okay. And along with the screenshot that we have just created, I'm going to keep this. And let me see if I open this. Okay, I'll probably need to restart open code. Okay, so the front-end design SKU is loaded. Okay. Let me add the screenshot of the page currently. Improve the page according to the guidelines. Just improve the page. Let's see. And save in improved.html. Okay, so as you can see, we are getting the whole SKU into the prompt along with the screenshot. Let me show you the screenshot itself. And let's see what kind of improvement we're going to get. So this is the screenshot from the original page. This one right here. So I'm going to be giving that and essentially the front-end SKU. And let's see what we're going to get. This is pretty much one of the mostly recommended SKUs from Anthropic, and pretty much the default one when working with front-end design. Let me show you where this is coming from. It's coming from the SKUs repository, the official Anthropic's SKUs repository. I'm going to be pasting that into the chat if you guys want to check it out. It is a relatively simple SKU, but it is talking about typography, color and theme, motion for animations and backgrounds and visual details. I have I had a lot of luck when using this SKU and GPT 5.4 and Opus 4.7. Hopefully here within this open model, we are also going to get somewhat of a good result. Note that we are having currently a roughly 20K context window. Let's check how much memory this one is using so far. So we are still at 33 gigabytes of unified memory being used for the model. But I can feel that my machine is getting like a lot of use. And for everybody that is just joining, please guys, if you can do it, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these tests. And if you want me to check like anything in particular, do let me know into the chat window. So I'm going to be able to test it out for you guys if I have the means to do it, of course. Okay, so it has read through pretty much the complete SKU. And it says that the current version is a basic matrix theme, as you can see. Let me think about what would make this truly stand out. I'll go for a terminal meets editorial aesthetic. Elevated terminal, the new aesthetic. Okay, so this is looking like something completely different so far compared to what we had into the first version. Let's see what we are going to get with that. So it is talking about different fonts. Okay, it seems like the new structure is going to be defined now. Okay, he's talking about a header section with experience, section with projects, and section with SKUs. And he's going over the new colors. He's talking about a color palette that is going to be, I hope, very different to what we have so far. Okay, so it seems like most of the SKUs is actually being integrated within this. So there is a comment that rule coder and Qwen is better for your Qwen. That SKU definitely made Qwen a thinking boy. Yeah, definitely it did. What do you think about the rule coder and Qwen? Like, are they better harnesses than OpenCode? I would assume that you can also probably use llama.cpp with those. Okay, so it is talking about a staggered animation. So probably we're going to get something a bit more, let's say, animated compared to this, since at this here we just have this background running with the matrix style. And probably the new one is going to be completely different. So it is overthinking the overthinking, as you can see. For a matrix terminal vibe, having monospace throughput makes sense. Let me use sign for the name only. So this, I assume, is some interesting font. And JetBrains mono for everything else. Okay. Okay. Now it has a final one for it. Okay, writing the code now for you this time. All right. I want to add a really nice touch. The experience section could have a vertical line connecting all entries like a timeline. Okay, nice point. So it is actually drawing the structure. Okay, that's cool. I'm not really sure if this is coming from the, like the SKU or not. but it is doing like a wireframe with ASCII characters, which is pretty cool actually. Of course, probably most of the other models are doing that as well, but yeah, it's pretty funny. But I am not like looking into their thinking process so much, since they are having like quite a bit higher throughput compared to this thing. So it is talking about making a noise filter SVG. Okay, so it's quite a bit undecisive on some of the details. I would bet it's from Qwen, because 3.5 is overthinking like this. Yeah, in some of the prompts that I have given, we've seen quite a bit of thinking. And keep in mind that I'm running a 4-bit quantized model. And for like 4-bit quantized model, this is performing okay. I would assume that the higher quantized versions of the model, like 6-bit or even 8-bit, are going to be performing quite a bit better, especially hopefully not overthinking so much. Let me write the code. Things again, repeat. Yeah, it is pretty much doing that. But I hope we're getting some progress. Now it's talking about the animations one more time. Okay, writing the code now. Final version. Let's see. What is the specs of the machine in which you're running this model? I'm running with M4 Pro. I'm going to type it down with 48 gigabytes. So the Q4 is quite chatty, as we are seeing right now. Of course, it might be the effects of the SKU itself, or like working with some parts of the context as well. Okay, so a lot of you guys also like to see those models benchmarked or tried out in tool calling. Okay, so for that, I probably have to create some sort of a benchmark. I would also be interested in making a benchmark that is going to test somewhat automatically these types of models into their different quants. And yeah, I might be working on something like that. It would be very interesting to have like a model benchmarked before starting these manual tests, so we should be able to have something that is somewhat automated and let us know, like as a community, how well does this model is going to perform, for example, on coding, tool calling, etc., on benchmarks that are not, let's say, contaminated, like the SWE and the other benchmarks that are pretty much those models are benchmarked on. Let me write the code actually. Yeah. Okay, so we are now into the final version. Let me write it. So it actually started the preparation of writing the file. Amazing. Let's see how much time this is going to take. So it is going to be a responsive site. Okay, let's check that if the current version of this page is actually a responsive site. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it is actually. Yeah, it's okay. Not bad. Writing, yeah. Clap for the writing, of course. Prepare writing, but first let me think about it. Yeah. And no, it's just preparing to write. Yeah, but for when this is happening, the thinking part, at least to me, looks like it is going to be done. And then when this is happening, it is actually starting the tool call and the actual output of the file, or at least this was what happened into the previous run. You're a coding model, you should always be prepared to write code. Yeah, exactly. Maybe this should be the system prompt for these models. But let's see what the result of that is going to be. Again, thanks to everyone that is watching. Sorry that my camera is like currently being turned off. You can't be sure if I'm an AI or not, but yeah, due to my resource limitations on my machine, I have just turned it off during these very aggressive tests, I would say. And yeah, it would be interesting to see if this model is going to be really the king of around 30 billion parameters dense models. So far, it seems like it is doing well, but this 4-bit quantization might be a bit too much for it. It might be dumbing it down a bit too much. And let's see what the result of that is going to be. And also, I'm going to be interested in what is going to be the overall context that we are currently running with, since I would believe that this is getting updated once the run is complete. On the benchmarks, I think something like Graffiti, a large code base would be a good benchmark too. So this Graffiti is something like a graph. Let me check it out. If I write this correctly, Graphify. Yeah, so it is something like a graph database for AI coding agents. Does anybody of you had some experience? Hello, new here. Hello and welcome. By the way, what do you think about Qwen 2.6? If you can run it locally, especially, it is a great model. And if you can afford it within like open router, again, it is quite good model, but it's not going to be the same as Opus 4.7, 4.6, or GPT 5.4. At least from what I've seen into the previous tests, it is quite good at front-end design, something which I haven't seen an open model being so far, but Qwen 2.6 seems to me at least that the front-end skills of these models are quite good. And here for the Graphify, have you like used it in some use cases? So it's multimodal extraction. So it is doing semantic extraction and graph clustering in a single skill. Could be the front-end design skill be what's causing the extra chattiness? I would very much assume that this is the case. I started playing with Graphify today on a 53 project solution. Okay. So after a run, what do you get from this? Like abstract tree or knowledge graphs for AI coding agents. Open source queue that helps AI coding assistants understand multimodal code bases by building a queryable knowledge graph from code. Okay, so it is doing some sort of analysis. Static knowledge graph. Yeah, it's 3-seater static analysis with LM driven semantic extraction. Thanks. Is it better than GOM? I gonna run via open router. In my opinion, from what I've seen, but I haven't tested it enough, of course. I would say that it is better than GOM 5.1, but I have tested it on very limited projects and very limited tasks. So at least so far, I think that it is better. And on open router, especially when you're running the Qwen 2.6, keep in mind Let me show you this. I'm in no way affiliated with any of these, so I don't take like any credits or money or something like that from that. Here, within the providers for Qwen 2.6, let me just check this. Okay, so this is still preparing to write, so we have time. The official provider of the model is this one called Moonshot AI. This is actually the developer that is behind the Qwen 2.6. But yesterday, for the same price, exactly the same price, the input and the output, some of you guys have suggested that I should be using the Novita AI provider, and I had really good results with that. And from what I've seen, the Moonshot AI provider is giving the access to the model via 4-bit quantization, which essentially means it's going to be performing a bit worse compared to the original, hopefully 8-bit or 16-bit, not really sure about the Novita AI. So I would suggest that you start with this Novita AI provider and then go from there, try it out on your own. And the Novita provider was performing quite well at throughput speed. As you can see, it is roughly 31 tokens per second, which is pretty much equivalent to the Moonshot AI provider. There is also Cloudflare provider, but it seems like currently it has like some uptime problems, so keep that in mind. This was my experience with OpenRouter yesterday and Qwen 2.6. Okay, so we are still preparing to write. Okay, let's go for the Graphify. Have like any of you guys tried some knowledge graph or graph-based RAG system? There was this thing called Graffiti. No worries, man. Graffiti or something like that. RAG. Is this the one? Was this the one? Temporal context agent. Was this the one? Was it called Graphify? No, this is the same, right? Or maybe different? Graphify, yeah. This is the same. Okay. And maybe I should find the repository again. It was essentially a repository that is going to give us a setup for a RAG-based, graph-based RAG system. So I might try some of the LLMs with that. Or at least I would be interested in that. If any of you guys have tried some of these graph-based RAG systems, let me know. Let's say RAG, graph-based RAG, GitHub. So this was the Graffiti. Maybe it was this one. Maybe it was this one. Yeah, probably it was this one. It would be very interesting to test this with some of the open models and look into whether or not these models are going to be able to like run those graphs and essentially like traverse them. I haven't tried that with an LLM so far. Okay, so this is still writing. I would assume that at least it has started thinking about what is going to end up into the HTML, hopefully. Let's see if we already have some benchmarks for Qwen 3.6, 27 billion, like from artificial analysis or maybe somebody else. So we have this blog post from Simon Willison. Let's hope I am pronouncing this correctly. So he's saying that it has tried exactly the same quant that we're currently running with a llama server. After further installing a llama server using brew install. So these are the settings that he was using. As you can see, I'm running, some of those are similar, but some of those are not the same. So there might be differences. Oh, you can see the generation of the SVG that was given, generate an SVG of a pelican riding a bicycle. Okay, so this is a very good result. And he's like running 54 tokens per second. Like, what machine are you running this on? Wow. So he's getting 54 tokens per second. Yeah, the SVG quality is like, wow. This is definitely up there. Definitely up there. Like, probably close to the frontier models. For good measure, here's generate an SVG of a North Virginia opossum on an e-scooter. Okay, so here the tokens per second have been vastly decreased. And another SVG. Maybe not as good, but this one is like, wow. Okay, so he's also running the preserved thinking. But he has some cache RAM settings with a 65K context window. Interesting. Okay, let's see if we have something else. We have bench ML. Yes, this is the one. Sorry, I don't speak Russian. I'm Bulgarian, so I can like answer in Bulgarian or in English. So this is some hopefully independent benchmark. So they're saying that at least on their benchmark, it's in top 10%. For agentic work, also performing not so great. I'm not really sure. Okay, so they are like doing this benchmark aggregation, so can't really speak about this benchmark. Okay, so here we have image of the SVG already. No additional benchmarks here. I'm interested in like independent benchmarks of this model, but I guess it's like too new so far. Also, we have actually, it has written something into an HTML file. Okay, it's like 632 lines. Let's check it out. Okay, let's check it out together. And let me actually stop the llama.cpp server. So I'm going to be able to show my camera again, just to enjoy together the improved HTML that was finally being written. Let's check it out. Now the HTML. Okay. All right. So let's do that again with the animations. Okay. So let me show you the previous version before the design improvement. So let me zoom in this one once more. So this is the previous one. Let me actually do this for you guys. Before and after the improvement. So here on the right, we have the improvement. Let me put out my camera again so you can guys see it. So on the right, with the design SKU and with the screenshot, you can see the experience here versus here. Okay, so we have some nice cards with the animation. This is like pretty good, don't you guys think? Along with the animations, note that these animations, the fade-ins with the typing animation, with the links, I definitely like this a lot better, especially with the links, the typing effect. Of course, there are some improvements that need to be done on top of this, but like this is not bad. I mean, like we waited quite a bit. We waited like 25 minutes for this improvement, if this is correct. And the result is like very, very good. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like it? Like a lot better compared to what we had before? Even the fonts are generally very tasteful, at least I like them compared to the initial result. Nice. Very nice. Okay, let's collapse this into this. Maybe I should redesign the ML Expert Academy with this model. The contrast ratio isn't great. Yeah, I would say so. I would say that you're right. Yeah, the old one was much more readable. Okay. So let me catch up with the comments. What's your machine specs? Yeah, that was being answered. I have used that workflow quite well with Gemma 4, and Qwen3.6 is even better. I used Opus as the project lead that plans and solves hard issues, and my local model as a worker. Yeah, this is the setup that pretty much all like people that are working with open models are using. Essentially, you're creating the plan and let's say the technical specification with the smartest possible model, of course, along your input. And then from there, you're using the local models as implementation, let's say, engineers. Very nice, but also very slow. This is my new favorite model, but barely usable. Yeah, unfortunately, it is quite a slow model, even on my machine. I would have expected at least like 5 to 10 tokens more. If it was like that, it would have been usable, but at this speed, not really. Okay, the animated cards were a nice touch. Yeah, definitely. The pop-up effects are good, but as William has also mentioned, the contrast ratio isn't great on the improved one. Yeah, I would definitely do another couple of iterations on top of that. Is there any improvements versus 3.527b? Well, it looks to me that it is performing quite a bit better on coding tasks, and it was able to do a lot of tool calls into our open code instance. So I would assume that there are some improvements. And yeah. Okay. So I think that this is it for now, guys. So please, once again, just like this video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content. I would like very much to know from you guys what other content do you want to see into these live streams, and leave comments below if you are watching this video after the live stream to let me know. Thanks to everyone that is joining this live stream and chatting and conversing together. If I'm working or sleeping, I'm not gaming, so that machine does my side projects during these times. Okay, so you have generally a very good use for the machine locally. Yeah, so definitely seems like that AI is eating the resources for gamers. It looks like that this is the case. And guys, if you want to become better AI engineers, please go and join the ML Expert IO Academy. This is the academy that I'm running, and I'm the author of the tutorials, etc. Pretty much everything in there. So yeah, if you want to join, I would love for you to have you there. We're doing some vocal based or vocal optimized live sessions on May 16 for all ML Expert Pro members. So keep in mind that this is going to happen. And if you join the academy, you're going to be able to access it. And this is going to be for this live stream. Again, thank you guys for being here. Hope that you enjoyed this live stream.